All right, guys, welcome back to Cooking with Chef Ken. And today we'll be making a risotto base for our seafood risotto for tomorrow. So a few things we're gonna get started with. We got our vegetable stock. We have it sitting at a low temperature because you wanna make sure that your stock is warm before adding it to the rice. We have arborio rice, we have our shallots, garlic, olive oil, and our wine. Just a few ingredients that we need to make sure this risotto is perfect. So we're going to start off by putting a saucepan on medium heat. We're going to add in 2 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil to make sure that saucepan is really nice and coated so the rice doesn't stick. We're going to take 2 shallots and we're going to do a small dice, a little bit bigger than brunoise. So make 2 horizontal cuts and about 5 to 6 vertical. And I'm just chopping straight down on that shallot just like that. You get a nice small dice. Same thing, I'm gonna make 2 horizontal cuts. I'm gonna come back with 5 to 6 vertical cuts. And then we're just going straight across those vertical cuts to make a perfect dice. I'm gonna do my second shallot. Same thing. And then the last one. So now that we have our shallots, small diced, we're gonna make sure that our olive oil is getting nice and hot. So we're gonna cook those shallots for about 4 to 5 minutes until they get soft and translucent. And one thing I've learned that for some odd reason when you're making risotto, you just want to use a wooden spoon. I never asked why. I never questioned it. I just said, yes, chef, it kept moving. So we're going to do the same thing. So we're going to cook this for about 4 to 5 minutes. And when you're getting close, your shallots, just like garlic, will become very fragrant. And you want to make sure that you have, like I said, enough olive oil in your sauce pot not to scorch or burn. And then you want to make sure you're cooking at the right temperature because you don't want to get any color on your onions nor on your rice. You want it nice and translucent and soft. So realistically, risotto from start to finish probably takes about 25-30 minutes. And just for the sake of the class for tomorrow, we will just go ahead and make a base and get it, just cook the rice till it's al dente. Which means slightly cooked and still with a little crunch to it. So tomorrow when we make our risotto with the seafood, it'll take about 10 to 15 minutes. Constantly working these shallots around the pan, scraping down the sides, make sure nothing's sticking or burning. Remember, if you're not already subscribed to this channel, hit that red subscribe button and be a part of the team. I make great videos, cooking classes, demonstrations. So next we're going to add in a cup of arborio rice. Arborio rice is just an Italian style rice. It's heavy starch. The same thing with the shallots. We want to make sure that we coat that rice really well in the olive oil. And we're going to toast that rice until some of the starch starts to release and it starts to stick to the pan. A nice sizzle with the rice toasting. And the same thing, just scrape it down those edges and get those corners to make sure nothing's sticking and burning. And after a couple of minutes, you'll start to feel the rice start to stick to the pan a little bit as that starts releasing from the rice. At this point, we're going to add in 2 tablespoons of minced garlic. It's nice and hot. We're going to work that garlic around as well. And you're going to keep cooking till you see most of that olive oil that's gone. And as you can see, the bottom of the pan is starting to stick a little bit. That starts releasing some of that garlic. So we're getting to a good temperature. The rice is toasting quite well. Once again, make sure you're at a low temperature or high enough temperature that your rice is not burning. You don't want any color on our risotto. All right. Once your rice is well toasted, we're going to add in a half a cup of wine and let that kind of deglaze the pan and infuse the rice with that nice natural flavor of the wine. We chose Pinot Grigio because Pinot Grigio is typically a pretty dry wine, and with the flavors that we're adding to our risotto, we didn't want to add any sweetness of the wine, so we chose a dry wine. Sauvignon Blanc works really well as well. We're going to let that cook out and cook it to the rice. And then we'll slowly start adding our hot vegetable stock. Some of you guys, if a wooden spoon is not working correctly or not to your liking, you can always use a nice rubber spatula. And that'll really help you with those sides in that corner. All right, so our pan is dry. You don't see any more wine. That starch is really releasing. It's starting to have a creamy texture to it. It's starting to smooth out. You can see that starch in the bottom of the pan. And so now we will start to add our warm chicken stock. So for the first round, we're going to add about a cup of chicken stock. And you want to make sure that your rice is completely submerged under the stock. And just let that rice absorb all the liquid. And you'll continue to do this 3 to 4 times until we have incorporated 4 cups of stock into the risotto. And yes, this rice will absorb 4 cups of liquid. That's how thick and how much starch is in that arborio rice. And you can typically use any kind of stock with risotto. We chose vegetable stock because it'll pair well with the seafood and the clam juice we're going to add tomorrow. So like I said, we're just only making the base. So we're not going to add all 4 cups of the stock today. We're going to reserve 1 cup for tomorrow to bring it back to temperature. So you're starting to see how it's thickening up. And all I'm doing is just keeping the rice moving. I'm not letting it really set anywhere in the corners, on the wall, or the base of the pan. Just let it absorb. All right, so next we're going to add 1 ladle at a time. So this is about ½ a cup of stock. And each time we're going to let it reduce down. And then after the 3rd round, we're going to taste it, season it, and see how much longer we need to cook our base. Get inside that pan and see what's going on in here. And all the reason it has that brown tint for the type of vegetable stock that we're using. You just keep seeing the rice is bubbling. It's got a good temperature. Scraping everything down. I just didn't feel right using that spatula, guys. Sorry. So we're just scraping everything down. Just keeping that pan nice and clean. We got about 1 more minute before we add the next round, and then before we season it as well. As you can see, it's getting pretty thick. That last round of moisture is almost gone. Starting to kind of get like that jambalaya feel. Now you want to make sure you do this slowly because you can always add more liquid to your rice, but you can't take any out. So you don't get overzealous. You don't want to move too fast because you have to start over. There's nothing you do with mushy rice. Now you can see the grains of the rice are still white. So we're not quite there yet. Add the next ladle or half cup. We're just going to season with salt and pepper to taste. A couple pinches of salt. A light pinch of pepper. All right. So now we will taste. Be piping hot. It's still crunchy. The rice is still a little chalky. So I would say we got one more round of liquid. And then we'll pull it off, spread it out on a sheet tray or a baking pan. And if you have room in the refrigerator, we'll let it cool in there. So that way we can stop the cooking process a lot faster. But you can see how much liquid this rice is absorbing. Like I said, this is only 1 cup of arborio rice. And we've already added about 2 cups of vegetable stock. I said we probably get to 3. And once again, I'm hitting all the edges and all the corners, scraping the middle of the pan, make sure nothing's sticking, burning, scorching, none of that. And you can see it's starting to get a lot of body to it. It's holding form. And that's how you know we're making good progress. And then after this right here, we're gonna pull this off once the liquid cooks out. And we're laying it onto a baking pan. How does yours look? Are you about the same place? You feeling confident about your risotto? This would be another dish that you add to your repertoire. And if your risotto is not cooking as fast, I'm okay with that. I prefer slow over cooking it and do it too fast. And then once again, well, I didn't go over why we're using hot stock, but because your rice is already hot, your pan is already hot. If you would add cold stock to your pan, it would just mess up the cooking of it. It would throw the temperature off, and you have to heat the pan back up. And by that time, you're just cooking rice longer in cold liquid. So then you're tending a better chance of making your rice mushy, because it can't absorb cold liquid. All right, guys, I said about another minute. We'll take this off and be done. And then one thing about risotto, guys, if you've seen, I haven't stopped moving it yet. So just to reiterate what we're doing right here, we have 2 tablespoons of olive oil. We have 2 shallots, small dice. We have 2 tablespoons of garlic, 1 cup of arborio rice, half a cup of dry wine. Ours happens to be Pinot Grigio. And we are slowly adding in 4 cups of stock to our rice. All right, so let's see. So pretty much liquid's all gone. Rice is well coated. And so if we take it out al dente, it's still going to continue to cook. It's just called carryover cooking because of the heat of the rice. So that's why we're going to try to get it right into our fridge as fast as we can. Cut the heat off. Bring over my baking sheet. And you probably could spray it with some pan spray or vegetable spray. If not, then you can coat it with a little bit of olive oil. Just keep it from sticking. All of it out. Scrape out everything, all that goodness that you just cooked. You want it. So make sure you get in there. There it goes. Spread it out evenly so it cools evenly. You want it very thin. The thinner it is, the faster it'll cool. All right, guys, this is our risotto base. I'm gonna throw this in the refrigerator, and I'll see y'all tomorrow.